to welcome to the stage Juliet Fisher Schuler.
Because you're my friends, and some of you are here because your wives made you come. Sorry about that. But I know why you're here. You're here because you like my pretty legs, great big knockers. That's what makes them spend a little more. Take the balance, take the rockers, it's the pretty legs and great big knockers. That's what keeps them coming back for more. Learn way more about me than you ever want to know. I'm going to sing some songs for you, and I'm going to tell you lots of stories and do a little dance. But mostly, guys, tonight is really all about my pretty legs, great big knockers. I will put the 2 and 2 by 4. Take the balance, take the rockers, it's the pretty legs and great big knockers. That's what keeps them coming back. Well, that's what coming back. Well, that's what keeps them coming back for more. Now. Honestly, I can't believe you guys are all here. No, I mean that. You guys don't have anything better to do on a Friday. No, I'm kidding. I am so excited here. This is the second time I'm doing this show, and I really thought that it would be like so much easier today, but no. Still panicking all day long. So nervous. We started calling this front row the splash zone because it's pretty likely I'm going to barf at any minute. Hope you brought your slickers. So welcome to my midlife cabaret. As the title suggests, I have been having a little mental hiatus, let's just call it. A genuine midlife crisis. And this show is my Ferrari. My tattoo, my boob job. And you all get to be a part of it. You're welcome. So, how did I get here, you ask? And where is here, exactly? Well, to be clear, I actually have been battling some pretty serious depression with a nice side of anxiety. Yeah. It's been super fun in my house. Yeah. I know that might not be exactly what some of you thought you were getting into tonight. I mean, most of you know me. I think all of you know me. And you probably see me on a fairly regular basis, you know, at school or dance class or the strip club. I'm just kidding. I'm hardly ever at school. I think most of us have this mental picture of what we think depression looks like, you know? Like this picture of a woman who's all disheveled with her hair all askew, wearing baggy clothing. And I mean, I think that that's out there for sure, but I think a lot of the time it looks like this, you know? I mean, maybe not like this, but like this. I think a lot of us do a really good job of just slapping on that happy face and plugging away, you know? And I think until recently I would have said that I am a happy person. You know, I'm normal. I mean, I'm the sane one in my family. In fact, when I went to tell my doctor what was happening, that I was indeed depressed, I remember he looked at me and he said, you know, of all my patients, I would have expected that from you. You always seem to have it together. Which really just goes to show you what a fantastic actress I actually am. Award-winning performance right here, folks. This is how it happened. A few years ago, I started to feel these little pangs of, I don't know, regret, uneasiness, unfulfillment, but I just sort of brushed it aside, you know, pushed it down real deep, because, I mean, come on, look how great my life looks on the outside, right? So I just slapped on that happy face and kept plugging away, and I kept doing that and doing that and doing that until finally one day I just couldn't anymore. And I felt myself sliding down that rabbit hole till I cracked, and I found myself standing in the middle of my kitchen, sobbing hysterically, while my husband looked on with sheer panic in his eyes. And it was right then that I realized how thin that line is between sane and crazy. You know, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't think, and all I wanted to do was just pull the covers over my head and let the world pass me by, but I couldn't, you see, because these little humans had invaded my uterus and then immigrated to my home, illegally, mind you. Went right over that uterine wall. Right? Where's fucking ice when you need them? And they insisted on being fed and clothed, so I couldn't just stop. I had to keep going. I had to move forward. I didn't have the luxury of having a mental breakdown in peace. So I decided to write it all down. I decided to pour all my pain into something creative and make a cabaret. I thought, what a great way for someone like me to work through their problems, you know? I mean, come on, I'm an actor, I'm creative, damn it, right? It'll be easy. You know, some people say that writing stories or composing songs or choreographing sparkly dances is easy for them. Nothing seems to interfere with their ability to create. And while I applaud their creative freedom, a little part of me just wants to punch those motherfuckers in the teeth. I sing this song for all the rest of us. Help me out, y'all.
We'll sing back up.
You have a story to tell, a novel in a drawer.
Oh, top drawer.
You have a painting to paint, but you're lazy like an old French whore.
Just sweet Lord.
You have a movie to make, shrinking dreams you can make, but you best grab a steak, cause in sweet the vampires, in creep the vampires, me, the vampires filling you with doubt, insecurity about what your art should be out. Go the vampires die, vampire. You sketched a turtle you saw in an ad on like that cable TV.
Tippy turtle.
But your fourth grade teacher said,
You can't
oh,
try.
those vampires will let you be.
Fuck you, Miss Johnson.
Come on like bells, and those bats and those bells, for you to call on that bell, sing in swoosh, in a wish, filling you with thoughts of
Self-consciousness,
feelings of
worthlessness,
they'll make you
second guess.
die, vampire. There are so many vampires, inside, outside, and nationwide. It helps to recognize them with this vampire hunting guide. A vampire is any person or thought or feeling that stands between you and your creative self-expression, but it can assume many seductive forms. Here are just a few of them.
Tell us, Juliet.
Up first are your pygmy vampires. Now, they'll swarm around your head like gnats and say things like,
Your teeth need white.
You went to state school.
You sound weird.
Shakespeare
Sondheim.
and Sedaris.
all did it before you and better than you. Or they might say that you cannot sing good enough to be in a musical. Or they might say,
Your song is repetitive. Your song makes me tired. Your song is repetitive and it doesn't
keep that
rhyme.
song from you, you tell them to.
Die, vampire. Die, die, die.
Brothers and sisters. Next up is the air freshener vampire. Now, she may look like your mama or your fat ass Aunt Fanny. If the air freshener vampire smells something unpleasant in what you're creating, she'll ask you to psst it out with some Pine Sol fresh smell nuts. The air freshener vampire doesn't want you to write about.
Bad language.
Blood.
Or blowjobs.
She wants you to clean it up and clean it out, which will leave your work toothless, gutless, and crotchless. But you'll be left with two tight little paragraphs, all kittens, that your grandma would be so proud of. You look at that air freshener vampire, her fat ass fucking face, and you tell her to. The last vampire is the mother of all vampires, and that is the vampire of despair. It'll wake you up at 4 a.m. to say things like,
Nobody cares what you think.
You look like an idiot.
No matter how hard you try, you'll never be good enough.
why is it that if some guy walked up to me on the street and said that, I would think he was a mentally deranged asshole? But when the vampire in my head says it, it's the voice of reason.
You have a story to tell. Hold that novel out. You're so pure.
You have a painting to paint. You've been painted and then paint some more.
Oh, baby, you must escape. They grab it by the nape of his neck, by the trachea. Fucking break it, go on, grab a stake. And now there's no mistake. And now die, shake it, make it. Die, vampire. I say I'll die, vampire. I say I'll die, vampire. Die. It's like a vampire, oh, my vampire's out. Like a vampire filling you with life, creativity, all that your art should be out. Go the vampire, die vampire, die vampire, die vampire, die. And let me tell you, those vampires are ruthless. The fact that I'm up here on this stage tonight is a true testament to my courage and stupidity. That and an insatiable need to be on stage. And Zoloft. Lads. Oh, but see, I'm getting ahead of myself. In order for you guys to understand how I got here, I have to show you where I came from. See, I was a working actor in New York for 9 years. And as an actor, we've been through a lot. Yeah, our highs are really high and our lows are pretty low. We can go from standing ovations on Broadway one night to the unemployment line like that. And that can happen multiple times a year. I mean, I know everybody has highs and lows, but actors are a little more extreme than, say, your average accountant. Sorry, Rob. They say the average actor gets 1 out of every 75 auditions. That's 74 rejections. Why would anybody put up with that much rejection? Because when you get it, when you get the part, it is the most amazing feeling. When you know that you beat out 100 other people for that role, oh, it is so good. And that feeling, it becomes like gambling. And once you get that first big part, you are willing to put up with 74 more rejections if it means one more big win. I remember when I moved to New York City, oh God, I was 22. I had a sublet in Brooklyn. I didn't know anybody. And I had the most miserable job waiting tables at a restaurant called the Dallas BBQ on the Upper West Side. Oh my God. The tips were awful and my boss was a total asshat. I was auditioning for anything at that point. And I remember my friend Brad was a performer and waited tables with me. He told me about this workshop that you had to pay to be a part of. Now, when I moved to New York, I was warned that there might be agents and managers who asked you to pay them to represent you, which is total bullshit. So I said, no. If they want me to be in the workshop, then they have to pay me. And I didn't do it. That workshop was called Fosse. You may have heard of it a couple of years later when it won the Tony Award. Yeah, not my best decision there, but that's a whole other show. So my friend Brad, he looks at me, he says, well, okay, then what do you want? I want to be a rockette. I want to dance until dawn. I want to be a rockette. That's what my heart is set upon. I want to be a rockette. I want to hear the crowd roar. I'm going to feel the magic when they scream for more and more and more and more. And I never wanted to be somebody's wife. A suburban life seemed appealing to me. I never wanted to be a movie star. I always wanted to be a dancer at Radio City. I'm gonna be a rockette. Let me out on that stage. I'm gonna be a rockette. They are the greatest dancers on disclosure, I'm being totally honest with you right now. I never actually wanted to be a rockette. I didn't. I know that sounds so bad, right? But you gotta understand that I was a very classically trained ballerina, okay? Whose career had been cut short because of said big knockers, which are frowned upon in the anorexic ballet world. So the Rockettes to me were more like robots, you know? Everybody looked exactly the same, no individuality. I was way too much of a stage whore. I wanted to be seen and heard and noticed. And boy, did I get noticed. I got so many notes. Oh my God. The dance captain would write them down, these little 3x5 cards, and I started putting them on my dressing room mirror. And it got so bad that by the end of the run, I could only see about this much of my face. It was, don't kick so high, Juliet. It's the Rockettes. But yeah, no, Rockettes only eye high, right? I mean, if you guys know me, you know that I like to kick a lot higher than eye high. It was don't kick so high, Juliet. Don't turn out, Juliet. Watch your arms, Juliet. Don't pop the head, Cassie. That was totally me. It was creatively stifling. But I gotta tell you, it was the hardest audition I have ever been to in my entire career. Oh my God, it was all day long. We danced our asses off. First they started with a ballet combination, and then they made a cut. And then they went into a tap combination, cut. Jazz combination, cut. Synchronized dancing, cut. And then on-camera interview, cut. And if you made all of those cuts, they asked you to come back the next day and do it all over again. There were 500 girls at my audition, and at the end of those 2 days, they hired 6 of us. 6, yeah. So, whether it was my dream job or not, it felt pretty good to be picked. I mean, come on. At 22, I could say I was a rockette, you know? I mean, the gig itself wasn't my thing, but it wasn't all bad. You know, the notoriety was kind of fun. Doors were opened, invitations were given. I would hear people whisper, oh, she's a rockette. I mean, come on, it's 25 years later and I still hear people whisper that. You know, it was just a taste of the high life, you know, just enough to get you hooked and wanting more. Remember that high I told you about? Well, Radio City Music Hall seats 6,000 people. There's nothing like hearing 6,000 people applaud you 4 to 6 times a day. Yeah, I did that job for about 5 years, but as I said, that was never my goal. My goal was to be on Broadway. Oh, yeah, I mean, come on. There is nothing higher in musical theater. Broadway is it. And it took me a little longer to achieve that goal, but I did. When I was 26 years old, I booked A Christmas Carol with the legendary Susan Stroman. I call her Stro. We're tight. She called me once, left a message on my machine. I saved it. For any of you straight males in the audience, Susan Stroman is like the Elon Musk of musical theater. Big, huge, yeah, big deal. And she hired me again for Crazy for You. And then after that, I booked Chicago because the Anne Ranking, Fosse's muse, was at my audition and singled me out.
I think you dropped something.
Oh, thanks, Fox. Yeah, I know it sounds like I'm name dropping, but that's only because I am. But what you have to understand is that I'm not name dropping to impress you. I'm name dropping so that you understand that it impressed me. I mean, here these Broadway legends were picking me. I mean, I knew I was good for San Diego, but New York? I mean, come on. That's where the best of the best go. I didn't know if I'd measure up there, but I did. And having that self-confidence was so validating. It solidified what I did know deep down in my heart, that I was good. I mean, trust me, there are many things in this world that I suck at. The list is long and depressing, but dancing was not one of them. I was an exceptional dancer. But what I found out was that I was a really good performer too. And having that self-confidence just made me feel like, I gotcha! You thought I didn't see it now, didn't you? You trust me, bombing now, didn't you? Now give me what you promised me, give it to me, come on! now hold it. A little bit longer now hold it. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Ease up on me now, get back on. You made me your promise and you're gonna stick to it. You shouldn't promise to you wasn't gonna do it. You left for me a man in another direction. Oh, I teach you to play with my affection. Now give it here, don't hold tight, now give it here. Hold it a long time, give it here. A little bit longer now, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Ease up on me now, get back, woo! I got you. $46, y'all. And it was that confident woman who went on a vacation to the Caribbean. And it was that confident woman who saw a flying trapeze class and said, hell yes, I'll fly on that. And while she was doing a flying split catch, of course, a man fell in love with that confident woman. And it was that woman that confidently said yes, threw caution to the wind, gave up her career to become a wife and a mother because she was so confident that she would be good at whatever she put her mind to. Silly girl. Oh, but that was the end of my single days. When I met my husband, we were both 30, and we'd both sown our oats. One of us more than the other. Did I mention he was a tennis pro at Club Med? And I had been pounding the pavement in New York City for close to a decade at that point. And although I was what I would have considered successful, I was tired and I was ready for a change. So I decided to give up the Big Apple and move to the strip mall capital of Les Oviedo. And I wonder why I'm depressed. Well, I gotta tell you, Doug's neighborhood was straight out of Stepfordville. Every house looked exactly the same. They had a Hummer parked in every driveway, and a little tiny blonde, long-haired booty woman in size 2 jeans out pushing her bugaboo stroller that cost more than my car. So I had my reservations, I'm not gonna lie, but I made a choice, a conscious choice, to give up my New York life. In fact, I had just auditioned for the national tour of The Producers, the musical, which was huge at the time, and I booked it. But Doug wasn't a theater guy, and I just knew that if I went on tour for a year, we wouldn't make it. So I chose him. I chose to stay and give up my wandering ways. Oh, honey, come here. Come here, honey. That I see upon your lip? Is that a subtle furrow on your brow? Yes, once there was a time another caused my heart to skip. But darling, that was then, and this is now. There's only you. Who cares about the other few? From the moment that we met, you were reason to forget Michael, Brent, Louise, Mercutio, Gerardo, Scott, and Barry from the gym. There's only you. One look and what else could I do? But tell Don Lennon, lose my number. Tell Phil Kessler, sayonara, Joseph Wright, over and out. And then of course there's Hugh Jackman. Meet him. All it's lost, but to me it was just, how shall I say, gathering knowledge. Anyone can dabble. Anyone can dabble. I mean, didn't everybody go to college? Those days were long ago. Those days were left behind. And speaking of behind, never mind. It's only you. Tell all the others toodaloo. Tell every Tom, Dick, Chuck, and Harry, very sorry, sorry, very, but my bachelor days are through. For indeed it was a blast. All my fun is in the past. And now for me there's only you. That's right, all my fun is in the past. Whether ever nights in Paris with a team of circus clowns, I can't tell you if my mind has drawn a blank. I can't recollect at all that barista from St. Paul or that fisherman who taught me how to spank. Not a moment do I think about that trip to Saint-Tropez or those hedonistic nights I spent in Greece. Or that thing with the Dalmatians. Oh, Fireman's Ball! I don't mean to brag, but let's just say they had to call the police. There's only you. There might have been a twin or two. Yes, commitment can be scary. Very sorry, sorry, very. But I'm loyal, never through. There's only it's been wedded bliss ever since. The end. Thanks for coming. Have kids, they said. That'll be great, they said. No, I'm just teasing you. If you guys know me, you know that my kids are just the most amazing, sweet and kind and smart, self-centered little assholes you will ever meet. They really are. I mean that. I really do. The days that I love them far outnumber the days I want to kill them. Usually. But, you know, actually becoming a mother, now that threw me for a total loop, you know? I mean, as with everything in life, I really feel like I'm a logical person. I do. And I feel like with everything in life, you can buy a book or Google it and there's your answer, you know? But these kids, man, they don't come with instructions. And other parents just lie to you because they don't want to be alone in their misery. See, I was the last of my friends to get married, but the first to have kids. So I didn't have a lot of parents that I could actually ask advice from, you know. But I did have this cousin who had kids. I'm not going to say her name. But Amy saw everything through your eyes. You know, she was one of those. I mean, you know the type. She's a school teacher, so she has all that patience. But she was always so happy about everything, and she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, parenthood is so magical." She has this really high voice. So magical. So that's what I was thinking. I thought parenthood was going to be magical, you know. And then I had my kid, and she came over, and she was like, "Oh my God, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it just so magical?" And I'd been looking at her like bleary-eyed, thinking, "No, baby, no. It's not fucking magical. I haven't slept in 3 days. I stink. And I just squirted breast milk on the floor that the dog is now licking up. But hey, thanks for warning me." And it just seemed like every milestone had its own special set of issues with absolutely no instructions whatsoever, you know? I mean, it was kind of fun when they were little and cute, but now shit's getting real. I don't think I understood that this was a lifetime gig when I signed up. There are days that I just want off the ride, you know? I mean, I'm so sick of repeating myself over and over and over again. I mean, why can't they just find both their shoes, you know? It's not like they went to school with one shoe, you know? It's like they came home and just one just goes, you know? Or what is the big issue with young men and hygiene? Anybody? And just once, I would like to have a conversation about something other than Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Fortnite. You know, it's just, I used to tisk when I would hear these stories about a mother or a father who just like up and left their family, you know, I'm like, "Oh, that was just so awful." But now I'm kind of like, I get it, man. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it that way. But I get it. You know? I mean, it's kind of like child abuse. I wouldn't do it. But I get it. I get wanting to find yourself again. I get wanting the freedom of our old lives, you know? I mean, I've been raising babies for so long, I don't know who I am. And then I realize that my kids are growing up, and they have no idea who I am. My little one comes home after a dance class and shows me this pirouette they were working on, right? And I'm like, "Baby, that is so good. But if you just passe a little higher and pull in your tummy, it's going to go much better." He goes, "Mom, you're not Miss Julie. Miss Julie is his 17-year-old dance instructor." And I'm thinking, no, baby, no. I am not Miss Julie. If Mommy could wipe the fucking floor with her. They have no idea who I am or what I gave up to be here. Peace and quiet have come to me at last. I can't believe this week has gone by so fast. Jackson and Colster are playing down the hill, and so the time has come. This is not a drill. I've got to quench this need. I must fulfill. A flight of stairs and look all around. When I see it sitting there, my heart starts to pound. I plug in everything I need, making sure it all fits. And so it's finally time for some karaoke hits. Pick up that microphone, flip the switch from a nice Orange County mother to a badass basement bitch. It's time to move, time to groove, time to play some air guitar, 'cause tonight, Mommy is a rock star. Without a noise upstairs, oh God, I would die. If they heard me belting out some big girls don't cry. I better go and just make sure that no one is there. Oh shit, I didn't know that they had living on a prayer. Pick up that microphone, start again, to become that feline femme fatale that you used to be back then. We're gonna growl, gonna howl, gonna show them who you are, 'cause tonight, Mommy is a rock star in the rec room. She's a wimp in a minivan. So carpool ladies, suck on this. time to refinance. Mommy is a rock star. My mommy is a star. Jackson. How long have you been there? I thought you weren't home. Well, I guess that's clear. I know that I bought this PlayStation 3 for you. This is just a thing that I used to do. You know what? You can join in too.